I mean, the Lee Sin, it's, let's be honest, a legendary pick for Tian. We all remember him becoming the beauty himself. Now over to EDG though, they've got to lock into picks of their own. Where are you expecting them to focus?
The thing I'm interested to see, right, is if the Aphelios takeaway comes through, or if they prefer to go for like a stronger laning phase in something like the Varus, but they are just going to lock that one in late away. Do they just go straight for the Thresh, or do they look for a jungle pick here?
Yeah, I like the Thresh pick, but I also think you're kind of leaving yourself with an option here for Flandre, because Flandre has kind of tended towards the Jaces, the Kennens. We saw it a lot against WE, and if you're not going to have the Jace up and available, it feels like the fallback here for Flandre is going to be something like the Kennen. Maybe we get Illusion or something for him again, but it's been a bit different for EDG in the playoff drafts.
You know, I think Thresh would have been a nice pick looking for this, and again, just moving away from picking jungle or maybe looking for Flandre, but I still think this is the most stock and standard option you go for, right? Just ensuring you get a Zins out and it doesn't happen like game 1 with FPX where their jungle pool got pinched out. So still wanting that extremely strong S tier jungler.
Oh, it looks like actually maybe FPX is going to take it away, but I think again, like looking at this bottom lane, I want to try and like mix up the picks for Crisp, because it feels like he's always been on the Braum, which means that he hasn't had that move priority.
Nuguri basically says to Flandre, look, I know you like the Kennen, but buddy, I got a skin, you know? Like, this is my pick. I'm bringing this to the top lane today. Now over to the side of EDG. That Thresh we talked about still available.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if it's a Thresh or if you go for a top lane counter pick here. The only answer we've really seen to the Kennen in the LPL has either been something like the Jason just trying to go toe-to-toe, or bringing out something like the Gangplank, but instead EDG opting into a Gnar. This actually is a losing matchup for the Gnar in the early
And I was going to say, I don't even like it as the draft starts to go on as well, right? You've got incredibly short range on EDG now against things like a Varus, things like a Kennen. Like, these aren't exactly picks that do particularly well here. So you're kind of all in on this heavy dive composition, whereas FPX have got really good answers. If you take something like a Galio into this as well, it becomes really hard for EDG to try and operate.
That's why I expect to see things like the Galio banned out. The other curious thing to me is the fact that, right, FPX do have the option to try to just outrange what EDG have put together, but Doinb not really having a massive champion pool in terms of like these long-range control mages. We know historically he's a bit of a Victor player. Things like the Azir he can play. Yeah, never played the Zoe, but I don't expect to see FPX falling into that, especially when we've talked about FPX's biggest downfall has been that they haven't been able to find the proactivity that we expected.
Well, we can look at the bans that are coming through so far. That set being taken off of the board. We also have the Thresh that we talked about endlessly being banned out. Now Leona removed as they're trying to focus down onto Crisp, deny him some of those picks, but things like the Rel that he was so exceptional earlier on in the season and earlier in spring, still available.
Yeah, I'm still looking at Doinb though. I feel like you can still go back towards this Galio. You do have the AP top, so you can always still go for some sort of AD menace in the mid lane. I know we were talking about the Kled, but I feel like that's probably not what we're going to see here. I still think you got options, and when you're looking at the support pool as well, if you end up having control of the push in the bottom side, you get Crisp moving, maybe you can make things happen.
I'm just saying, this is FPX we're talking about. That could be a Kennen mid for all we know. Like, there's plenty of opportunity to flex. Over to EDG though, so they've got to get themselves a pick in here.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see, because with the support bans that have come through, I think this is the better option, right? Because I think there's nothing you can really safely blind pick, things like the Rel, hard against compositions that do outrange you. So they are going to go back to the Ryze, which for the most part does have a lot of decent laning phases come out. He'll be fine to just get to the level 6 point, get the Realm Warp, and be able to start roaming around the map. And right now we are seeing the Galio hover come out from Doinb Dagda.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is perfect, right? You match that roam potential from the Ryze, you got good side lane control, you can help Nuguri in that top lane matchup. That is perfect. And now you've got that engage tool as well, which synergizes so well with the Galio.
But this also shows what we were just sitting on with FPX, right? Is FPX are never going to be the team that drafts a composition to try to outrange you. They will always be the team that tries to draft the composition to go toe-to-toe with you every step of the way.
You can tell that FPX are happy with this draft because I just saw Crisp smile. Now that is a rare occasion that you get to see a grin on that man's face, but as the Rakan is locked in, I saw a little bit of tooth.
I'm so happy with this though, right? Because the Rakan comes out for Crisp, which sets up for Meiko on the Alistar. This has been Meiko's champion over the past 2 years. He loves going towards it. He's played it so many times in this split. 80% win rate on the champion. Sure, you're gonna fall behind the lane. You're gonna get pushed in. That's what Alistar does in every matchup. But later on, Rakan comes in at a bad angle. You do get a headbutt pulverize combo off. He's just dead.
The big thing though is that this does open up Crisp. One of the big issues that we've had all series long is that Crisp has been not able to move. It's been Meiko moving first. Now you'll have that opportunity after that level 4 to push in, unlock.
The most dominant in the history of the LPL with 5 LPL titles under their belts. EDG are looking for a 6th, and the question is, can FPX hold on?
And again, I mean, not even just the 5 titles that they have domestically, an international championship in MSI 2015 as well. And they're still trying to play this keep away, stop FPX from hitting multiple titles in the LPL, joining that club. And the reverse sweep has got to come through from FPX if they hope for it.
Dagda, I'm sorry, I'm smiling so much because we see the Predator coming out for Doinb Galio. So we know it's all about pushing and moving, not going to opt into anything like a spell book or, you know, these more maybe utility and teamfight options. He wants to move, he wants to have an impact. And for the side of FPX, I feel like you do have options. I'd still expect to see maybe more play towards the top side. Nuguri also having the summon area for more of a dominant laning phase. But both of your side lanes do have some kill pressure and setup.
And I think the beautiful thing, especially for Doinb, as you say that, right? You've got like, you can use both offensive and defensive capabilities. Galio super well, right? Like if you go up towards top lane, where he sets you up, you slam in on top of the rat, you end up picking up just off the CC from the Kennen, a potential pick there. You look at bot side, Crisp when he gets the quickness, the knock up there, you've got that to facilitate you as well. But if EDG are the ones to start the play, they're all so short range. They're all going to be nice and grouped up, so you get even the advantage when you come in secondary to the play if you've got Doinb in tow.
See how it's all going to pan out, but both junglers, to start this one off at very least, going for the full clears. Tian even opting into those Krugs on the bottom side of the map. And both junglers, once again, I feel like we've said this every single game so far, pathing up towards that top side to start the game.
Yeah, I expect topside action to be more unlikely on the part of EDG. Looks like the wave state is staying just about neutral right now. I think as EDG are more looking at some kind of like mid-jungle play to come out that we've talked about. As we see, Tian is being spotted out that he is doing Raptors, but Tian making his way up, I feel like does have more diversity in terms of options. Can look to play out through either one of his soul laners. You do have gank set up on both of them. You have burst up in the top side for Nuguri. And I think both are going to have a fine time in their individual laning phases.
Over the course of the series, though, it's been really interesting to watch Doinb, right? He's been consistently like hard shoving these waves so he can try and have this push pressure for Tian and try and guarantee these scuttles. Now, it's backfired a little bit this time because he's now got to reset his wave isn't in a great spot either. And it means that Jiejie now kind of has his pick of the litter when it comes towards these early objectives.
Ooh, is able to get back on the map, though, and have those boots to start using that Predator. So potential early roams able to come out from Doinb and make some of these massive plays on opposite sides of the map. And now we're seeing on our screen what we were hitting on with Crisp, able to start moving from the lane and looking to link up with Doinb.
It's going to be crucial having those boots to make those Predator plays. Crisp moving in, but Jiejie is already waiting in the brush. I thought he was going to go more aggressive, but clears the vision. Crisp does not get all of the information that he would have loved. And Meiko, we asked if he's going to be able to move. He's going to move all the way up to the crab and move the crab as well.
Yeah, EDG just doing a nice job of syncing up so far. The thing for Crisp on the Rakan just gets to make plays other supports don't with how much mobility you have in your kit. You usually are safe to walk solo into the enemy jungle, and you will have ways to get out. So nice to see FPX recognizing that as EDG starting to make their way up towards that top side, and Tian playing a little bit of keep away.
And I think, again, like, oh, actually, I'm watching Doinb now.
Oh, 2v2 at the bottom side. Once again, Meiko goes in for the engage and fight, but trying to follow up. The stun is there on Lwx. He's only level 2, and Scout has arrived with the Rune Prism. It's surely a kill for 5 for 1. More Auto takes the kill, and the EDG bot lane we've been raving about all year finally gets the 2v2.
Boots be damned! You TP back to get Boots, I'll just TP to your bot lane and pick up the kill there. Really well played by Scout to punish that early teleport from Doom.
I also love the fact, right, Meiko was just able to get that ward in Tri-Brush, which gave the perfect angle for Scout to come in. Just doing a nice job of punishing the fact that FPX's bot lane will push, and have this avenue to keep punishing FPX's bot lane with Lwx having no flash, as well as, you know, going to head straight to the replay, and just going to see, again, perfect setup coming out from the side of FPX. From EDG, I'm sorry. Their bot lane is pushing. You just got that ward, which the side of FPX saw. Crisp saw you get that ward. They're able to go for it. Nice flash coming out the end to secure the kill.
Also perfectly having the level 3 for Meiko, right? You get access to that really long CC chain, so they're managed to pick you that up. That kill goes across the Viper. Is Doinb again trying to roll?
Oh, flashes forward, but Scout manages to sidestep away from the stun. The Rune Prism so clutch from him. And who would have thought, coming into this series, we would see Scout consistently out-roaming Doinb. This is Doinb's signature style. And Scout's better at it than he is.
Honestly, I'm surprised that Scout isn't playing the zombie Ryze skin, because he's in Doinb's head right now. Like, he's just been all over the place, keeping control of Doinb. And every time he's trying to make these moves, like, you just see him either playing off to the bottom side, or the reactions from EDG are perfect, keeping him in check, stopping him from moving towards that top side.
Yeah, and we're seeing EDG overall. I think their whole map control is being pretty good, right? We see Jiejie just show on a ward in bottom side, clears out enemy vision. when Lwx doesn't have the flash like we just talked about, they are going to have to play more conservatively. Luckily for them, Tian is coming off a base and making his way back towards the bottom side to clear up, so FPX should be able to try and push this wave in for now and have a bit of safety. But when we're looking at FPX, we were hitting a lot about the early game skirmishing potential from them, and when they're not the team really accelerating, you are still playing into what I'd say is an extremely strong front-to-back teamfight composition coming out from EDG.
And that's my next question was going to be, where does FPX start to accelerate this game? The answer might be Drake. Jiejie is here, tagged up by Tian, but it looks like EDG are the ones that want to start this fight. In goes Jiejie, double knock-up, here comes Doinb, but it's denied! Scout must have stopped it with the Realm Warp. Viper in trouble, low HP on the back line, but so's Lwx, and it's Jiejie to get the kill. Now Tian forced to flash out of the fight. Doinb trying to escape, he has to flash as well, but a Realm Warp to follow as EDG have every single play that FPX can make memorized. They outplay everything, but Jiejie, I mean, okay, maybe they don't outplay everything because they went way too far.
FPX luckily able to find something back in the end, but I feel like this play was so critical, getting the root down onto Doinb, not allowing him to join in the fight, because numerous members of EDG were clumped up. That could have been such a massive knockup coming up from Doinb to set up the win for FPX.
And it baited everyone in FPX as well. You're going to see it here, right? They're like, oh, licking their lips. We've got this, guys. 3 members all locked up here. And you can see they go in. Lwx starts to step aggressively forward, thinking that CC's going to come through. He can pick off Viper before the fight starts, but because that doesn't happen, he's into the waiting hands of Jiejie.
I feel like the critical thing in this moment as well is, you know, we're going to get to see the overextension coming through at the end for the side of EDG. Meiko going in does allow them to secure that last kill, and they want to finish off Tian as well, just because of how low he is. Does set up for the CC to come up from FPX, but a critical thing to me in that moment is Crisp having to go in from the fact that Viper was able to get an auto off on him with the Gravitum gun, right? So the stun would have come out, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna die regardless. Let's go in, let's try and set up for the play, and they were able to salvage some kills in the end.
Yeah, and it feels like these are kind of the plays that are going to shut down FPX. And I was actually going to be looking at like the Rift Herald, right, that's about to spawn. You end up with the kind of the 2-man combo between Nuguri and Doinb. Like maybe you can try and make that play happen there, but unfortunately you don't have Nuguri for that play in the bottom side. Maybe they can rectify it as we look towards the Rift Herald and you get a bit of move quicker from Lwx and Chris, but this gold kind of nicely in favor of EDG right now.
It's feeling real good for EDG. 500 gold lead, not as significant as the other 2 games though. FPX doing a much better job of staying even, but they're meant to be ahead. This is meant to be the composition that wins the early game, and they're still falling behind.
It's just been really nice reactions coming out from the side of EDG, but I do want to give FPX a bit of credit, even if we do go later on, right? Because Dagda making a great point about like combos of Nuguri and Doinb being able to make these plays together. If FPX can ever get this massive wombo combo, right, of like maybe Chris coming in on a flank, setting up for Doinb Nuguri to follow, you get all of these ultimates under 4 or 5 men, FPX will be able to find ways to take fights, even if it is a bit harder.
It also feels like, though, for FPX, you kind of need to hit hard, right?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of like a very burst-heavy team with the Kennen, the
You're
Galio.
all burst.
Yeah, and even that AD Varus, the Lethality Varus. So if EDG are able to survive or you don't hit key members, the extended fight is in favor of EDG.
Well, we've got an extended fight here on the top side of the map as Herald will be started off. EDG, 3 men here, but kind of surrounded as Doinb looks for the taunt onto 2 here, but in goes Nuguri with a slicing maelstrom. Moonlight Vigil across the team, and FPX health bars are getting pretty low. EDG have found yet another play to answer, and the early game kings of the LPL are being taken apart piece by piece every single game.
I also don't know if my eyes are deceiving me. I didn't see who it was, but I could swear Tian kicked someone out of the slicing maelstrom from Nuguri, which could have been the only player that they would have found a kill on. Thank God we go straight into a replay, and we are going to see slicing maelstrom come out. It is followed by the kick, and it allows Zhao to get the safety. Did channel his ultimate, so he probably would have been fine regardless. And
I get the thought process, though. Like, Tian, it looked like trying to kick into Viper, seeing if he could use the damage from Jiejie to then set up for the pick onto Viper. But, I mean, Flandre, that turnaround was insane. Having that big Mega Gnar in the mix just shut down that. And there's exactly what we're talking about, right? If you don't hit hard with FPX's composition, you just don't have the damage to follow up on the rest.
And we're finally getting to see Flandre on, you know, one of the archetype champions you think of, right? Something coming out as more of a tank, more of a team fighter, able to find these critical moments in fights, lock down numerous targets. So far, the series has been all about Flandre on these carries, getting the Lucian 2 games in a row. But going back to a more comfortable style, doesn't matter that Gnar loses lane to Kennen, he's done a pretty good job of staying even and finding an impact on the map.
And I want to quickly talk about Flandre because this is not only going to be the first year that he makes it to Worlds after years being in the LPL. This is the first time he's made it to an LPL final. He brings out his signature pick a couple of games and now doing well in a losing matchup as well. Flandre is maybe at his career peak right now.
I mean, it's looking so damn good. And again, it's been this different style from EDG, moving the resources up towards top side. Because I was actually looking at like the stats coming into this. I was like, yeah, I mean, EDG first for Dragons, FPX second for Dragons. We're going to see a ton of pressure down to this bot side. We haven't seen it at all. It's been all about Rift Heralds, all about these top lane skirmishes, and EDG have been playing phenomenally and outdoing FPX.
And we're seeing that even now, right? We're seeing the mid-jungle duo link up because I think sadly for FPX, this would be a pretty good spike for them to fight, especially with the fact that Lwx going for that first item, Serpent's Fang. So, incredible burst of stats early on for incredibly cheap. This is where you would want to utilize that advantage where we look at Viper only sitting on Noon Quiver and Vampiric Scepter. But if you look at the minimap right now, EDG is still doing keeping Jiejie mid pretty much the whole series, not allowing for Doinb to have the impact. And when your jungle stays mid like this, it allows for plays like this. You just move to the opposite side. They even have the Rift Herald, so they can very easily start opening up the map.
Nuguri could be in trouble here. It does have his Kennen, though. That's the thing. It's so difficult to dive a Kennen with ult available.
Especially if Galio is going to come up as well, right? You get the lockup, then you get the follow-up CC. So I think maybe a Rift Herald play, but FPX want to respond on the bot side.
Tian was spotted on a ward. Meiko's just going to go in instead. Look for the 2v2 before Tian could get involved in the fight. Viper with a cleanse here. Lwx survives though. Viper's in trouble instead. In comes Doinb, but so is everyone else. It's a 5v5 here, but it's Flandre taken out before he can turn Mega. Now Scout trying to escape up through the river here. Bit of damage before, so he can get his phase rush and get sprinting through the waters. Jiejie has to settle for a Scuttle Crab. It's 1-0 for FPX on the play.
Meiko just went too early. He tries to go for the play, tries to set up for Viper to pick off Lwx before him, but they can't do it. And now you're getting kills into FPX's hands. That's exactly how they can turn it around.
Big spike in the bottom lane as well with the Serpent's Fang finish. Jiejie tries to make a play onto Nuguri, but ultimately FPX is going to be fine. There is no Drake though. There's no big objective that comes off of this fight.
Yeah, so that is one thing that is lucky for the side of EDG. We're going to go straight into the replay, and I can understand what Meiko and Viper are thinking here, right? I even think they're trying to just burst out Lwx before anything is able to happen. Tian sadly is here, and I feel like critically, FPX are just able to get more members here because Jiejie is still in the mid lane. FPX even just having better TP positions overall. They are grouped up as a unit compared to EDG having two members that are behind enemy lines, and Viper and Meiko were zoned off because they did get chunked out in that earlier trade.
Poor Flandre as well, right? He's like 1 millimeter away from hitting that ultimate, getting into that Mega Gnar form, and unfortunately just not able to. So great job from FPX, and now you're starting to see, hey look, what we've been talking about, FPX always still having this fight in them, always still trying to see if they can find these ways to make the plays happen. And we can see in the bottom right corner as well, while we're talking about this, in the replay, the Rift Herald was used mid lane.
And really crucially, it was Scout that dropped that Rift Herald. So that 320 gold from the two plates does go into the pocket of Scout. So really crucial there. As Lwx is going to get a similar payout on this bottom side. Will have a bit of solo time with this tower. Has Crisp invading onto that side of the jungle, getting some vision to make sure his AD carry is safe.
I like that you mention the gold and the fact that Scout was able to pick up the Rift Herald, right? Because if we look at the gold next to the players' names, the whole gold lead is in favor of Jiejie and Scout. Exactly who we've been talking about all game long. All three other roles are even so far. It does lend credence, does give opportunities to members like Lwx or Nuguri to maybe step up in the next skirmish.
Yeah, and I was going to say as well, like for EDG, you kind of need to be going into these fights with a fairly sizable gold lead, because if you end up in these situations where you're just kind of getting burst out by FPX, you never really get the ball rolling. But again, if you're able to survive, if you're able to keep yourself in place while FPX throw everything in the kitchen sink at you, that's when you can try and turn these fights.
Flandre might have been baited. Sonic Wave lands the flash for flash, but Tian follows with a ward hop. And now the slicing Maelstrom. Flandre tastes lightning and is taken down by the 2v1.
And FPX finally able to find something. We were setting up for these plays towards the top half of the map. EDG shutting them down thus far, but finally able to get it. But we might get more action, bud.
There's a play on the bottom side here, and his Meiko caught out. Unbreakable will use, dodges the chain of corruption. Nicely done by Meiko. Looks like he will get out with his life off the back of it. Now the Crab could be contested still. We see Lwx is holding the Q as long as he can, and will get the crab as a reward.
Still though, like, you try to answer for the play on bot side, EDG gets shut down. FPX now control the top end of the map, and you've got Rift Tower that's about to spawn as well.
Yeah, and we're going to see here going into the replay, just, man, Sonic Waves today have not missed. Really nice coming out from the side of FPX. Beautiful flash into the war jump to get the kick off, and they just have enough burst to bring him down. Sadly, though, EDG are the teams that have prio up towards that top side, with Flandre just being able to get on the map first after that death timer, and it doesn't look like FPX are even going to try to respond as they're going towards the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, look at your minimap. 15 seconds on this Infernal Drake. Lwx already onto the tower, and Viper is alone in the world here. He's going to try and go for the kill himself. The knockup comes through, though. The damage is there. Chris happy to tank the tower. That's a lot of damage from Viper, and he actually gets a turnaround kill. How does he pull it off every time? Now to the top side, as Meiko wants to make a play of his own. Nuguri trying to answer it, but the lightning surge will be denied and exhaust. Meiko will not let the lightning rat go anywhere. Jiejie jumps in, and Scout should finish the kill.
I'm just saying, Munch, that's a cool play top, but Viper in the bottom lane, I love it. He realizes, oh my god, my team's going up towards the top side. I'm alone. I'm going to get dove. He walks forward, looks for the aggressive plane, able to find the 1-for-1. I think is so nice for Viper.
And whatever about the finesse in this game, these are just throwing haymakers. We're getting plays right, left, and center. Outplays coming through. We just said FPX. They were the ones picking up wins on the opposite of the map, and now EDG are just swinging right back at them.
And I just want to say, EDG making it to the final for the first time in years, and they have had a reputation all year long of being one of the slow, calculated teams. But this is the LPL finals. This is the most dominant team the LPL has ever seen, with 5 titles already. They're 1 game away from a 6th title, and they are playing like an LPL
I also
team.
want to say, guys, we should all be scared. Scout on that same power spike he was last game when he picked up that quadra kill right now. You can see the larger on, also having the Everfrost in the inventory, so massive damage able to come out from him, but we are seeing FPX starting to get some vision up towards the top half of the map. Nuguri does have TP available, so if any fight breaks out, you don't need to worry about any sort of numbers advantage, but I think both EDG and FPX not really in a great position to do anything unless Flandre gets caught out.
Crisp is face checking here, has to use the grand entrance as a grand exit on the play. Flandre about to turn Mega. Gnar could have a window to make the play on the top side, jumps forward. Doesn't actually pull the trigger on the ultimate just yet. Going to use it on Tian alone, and Jiejie alone as the rest of the team now moves over to Nuguri. He's denied the entrance, and FPX are being taken apart. Yet again, Scout makes the play to take the kills. Yet again, EDG take over, and yet again, this top side of the map belongs to Edward Gaming.
And you called it, Lyric. You said this was the power spike. This is where we get the multi-kill for Scout. And he comes off it with 3 more kills. EDG are shutting down FPX and finding so much on this map.
And EDG are just catching FPX off guard. You can see what Nuguri's TP position. He didn't expect anyone to be there. He could have TP'd closer to his team, but he thought he was cutting off the enemy side. Goes in straight to 2 members. The EDG get the numbers advantage. They're able to turn it around, and they're starting to open up more of the map. 4K gold lead. And none of us could have expected this result.
No, and I was looking, going, okay, Chris, you're in a bit of a dangerous spot. I was like, right, they're going to be able to run away. Watch that ward really far down the lane. Great positioning for Scout. He gets the initial TP. Meiko's roaming upriver. They just pick off Nuguri before he can get anywhere. And you can see Nuguri's like, hang on, I'm going to try and hold on to this ult. I don't want to use it too early, but he gets burst out as a result. And then FPX, they're caught between a rock and a hard place. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, and honestly, I thought coming into this situation, FPX were probably happy. They're like, okay, Chris gets chunked out a little bit, but we just have those TPs that I just hit on. But again, just superior positioning coming out from EDG. That ward, seriously so clutch. Nuguri having no idea he'd be TPing into 2 members, and then EDG just able to take it. FPX so are looking for the aggressive play.
Oh, here we go. FPX looking for a window. Double top for Doinb. Double kill for Lwx. This is the window. And now with the TP coming in, Flandre turning Mega here, and Crisp could be in trouble, but I think he wants a little bit more. Grand entrance denied. CC chain onto the support, but that's a lot used. Viper surviving for the time being. Is Flandre trying to fight this one? How are they winning this? 3 versus 5. As Nuguri still only just arriving, and EDG have actually done it. Viper gets a double kill. FPX, how did you lose that?
Best believe somebody's paid the Pied Viper today, because he is popping the hell Oh, 4 kills for this man. And that was a 3v5. What is going on?
And it just feels so right. We haven't been talking about Viper all series long. He gets his hands on the Aphelios. He shows up. And now EDG maybe looking for a bit of a cheeky Baron.
Oh, this would be spicy. Hyper carry Viper steps up when it matters the most. Wins the 3v5 now. Realm Warp coming in. Doinb knows this is happening. Meiko incredibly low in the pit. The Baron might just finish him off himself. Nuguri has to use the Lightning Surge just to survive. Jiejie chased away. The Baron actually finishes Meiko off, and now Scout's caught as well. But Doinb, Scout wasn't caught at all. He turns it around. Scout is invincible.
Yeah, Doinb trying to lock Scout down, but locks himself in the cage with Scout. Scout having so much damage, we're now easily able to turn it around. And that was looking pretty good for FPX. They got a kill. They were going to have a tempo on the map going into Dragon. But now EDG are the ones with a solid lead.
This fight, though, this was insane. You get the 2 picks onto Scout, onto Jiejie, and think, right, we've got this, lads, in the bag. Let's turn. But the fact that in a, 2 players that could actually deal significant damage here. Chris just gets caught out. Viper's positioning is great here. He's just getting so much damage, and there's no one touching him this entire time. Using that caliber really, really well. Able to get so much damage off. And Flandre, he's been able to just CC people, keep them locked up, and nobody's able to actually get onto the key members.
And that's the thing, right? They weren't able to find a way to lock Viper down the fight, so he's able to kite that one out. We are going to see here, though, FPX doing a good job. They have enough members on the map to dissuade them from looking for Baron, but again, Doinb trying to lock him in the cage, not able to do it.
Hang on. We're going to play live in the game right here. It's Drake up for grabs, and it'll only be the second free of the team, but it ain't about the Drake. It's about the fight. In goes Jiejie, kicked back out of the pit, though. Smite comes out from Tian. FPX, they've got the Drake. Can they escape? Looks like the answer's going to be yes for now.
And I feel like for EDG, right, this is where their composition thrives. If they have the members of FPX right in front of them, if FPX have something like flank wards, or if they push in bot side, they can try and get around your composition, try and set up those flanks to find the wombo combo. But EDG having complete control of bottom side, no FPX wards to be found.
Yeah, and you can see now they're starting to move in, trying to see if they can get more control as they take down this bottom turret. I was a bit worried as FPX. They looked like they were trying to aggress here, but EDG controlled the area.
Oh, Meiko could be in trouble here. The stun flashed away from the Sonic Wave there, and the stun can't come through from Nuguri. FPX still looking, though. Crisp dodges away from the Everfrost. Another Everfrost in as they get the knock-up onto Meiko. This would be a pick onto only the support, though, as Crisp has to escape as well, and Meiko actually surviving. Nuguri moving forward. Slicing Maelstrom still available from the Lightning Rat himself. Doinb jumps forward. Once again, Viper over the wall, just waiting for them to step too far. Flandre not even sweating, not even worried. EDG, they get away with it.
FPX tried to find that fight because Viper was in the mid lane pushing that wave. They thought maybe with Viper not in the mix we can take the fight, but still incredibly close. And EDG, they run away with their tail between their legs.
It just goes back to what you were hitting on earlier, Dagda. To me, FPX's composition is like, like a bazooka. You have like one massive shot, and I mean, if that doesn't work, you really don't have too much follow-up. Sure, we saw Lwx will be able to keep trying to get those snipes, but in terms of consistent DPS, EDG were waiting in the wings like, come on FPX, walk forward, we have the damage.
And you can see that EDG are trying to play out through these side lanes, right? They have Scout, who's huge, let's use this Ryze, let's try and get him in position, but every time FPX are just trying to collapse onto them, use the fact that they've got the likes of Doinb on this Galio, try and find these moments to turn around, but they just haven't quite been able to. If they do, though, if they can find that moment, maybe FPX can try and claw their way back into this game.
Oh, flash from Jiejie at the last possible second from the Everfrost. Will mean he can defend this tower on the top side, though, Tian. Actually going to take a tower shot for his drop ball as EDG have moved up, and every single play FPX tries to make on the map, EDG move and match them. They will not give a single inch.
That's the thing, though. I honestly feel like both teams are playing pretty well in terms of to their win conditions, right? FPX are trying to find tempo advantage. They have push in mid with the Varus. They have these great side lane combos like the Galio and Lee Sin able to come out. And for EDG, they just know, hey, we just have to match their plays. We don't need to look for like split maps or anything like that. We feel comfortable going toe-to-toe if we have the same amount of members there.
And it's amazing, again, to see like how far EDG have come against FPX. We were very much putting these guys down. Like the last time these guys faced back in spring playoffs, it was a 3-1 FPX. Everyone kind of expected something similar, but EDG playing this mid-game well, outperforming FPX in the early stages, and now they find themselves with a 4K gold lead. The only issue for them is that, Dragons going in favor of FPX right now. You're going to have another one in 2 minutes where they'll need to fight against FPX again.
And I would add a word to that sentence there, Dagda. It's a 4K gold lead again. This has happened every single game of this series. EDG have come in. I don't know what they ate for breakfast. My bet is on Weetabix, but who knows at this point, because they have come in like a totally different team from what we saw the rest of the split. Doinb wants to find the play, but he's been found himself, knocked up. Now the Moonlight Vigil onto 2. Realm Warp behind the team. It's EDG that found the picks. Slicing Maelstrom to deny some of it. Grand Entrance in, and FPX find 2 for themselves. Maybe this is the turnaround as they look for a little bit more. Flandre forced to flash out of the play. Viper half HP, still going strong, but Tian! When has he ever failed on Lee Sin? He will not today. Scout against the world. He has the damage. What? He finds yet another pick.
It's just hero play after hero play. We see Tian finding his way in, gets the kick, sets everything up to take Viper down, but Scout was left unharmed. 8-1-4 on this Ryze, just able to turn it around. Blow for blow, blood for blood.
Scout will not be denied. And I was watching this replay, I was like, all right, Bazooka locked and loaded. EDG all collapse into this tight corridor, and FPX, it's just a firing line for LWX. The lockup is perfect for Doinb, and they can find this fight with the chains of corruption onto several people. Tian even, watch, like just, boom, Viper straight into the team. And then I'm like, God, this is over. Heartbreak for EDG, and Scout's like, no, hang on, hold a second, lads. I need to pick up some kills here.
I feel like that could have been so different as well if Flandre would have had his Mega Gnar, right? Then he could have jumped into that corridor, tried to lock numerous members down. He didn't have that. Tian saw his window, and in the end, it comes out a pretty even skirmish. We're still about 3K gold advantage for the side of EDG.
Oh, it's a huge pick. Crisp goes down before the fight can ever even happen in EDG. They've just found themselves an opportunity to find a Drake. And that Drake, if they can take it, pushes the win further away from FPX.
They need to make sure that they're keeping their eye on where Nuguri is, though. A big Kennen ult with Doinb, with the damage from LWX, could still spell disaster, but you see EDG keeping their flanks situated, keeping them under control, and they will get this dragon.
The big thing is Doinb doesn't have heroic entrance, which is why it was so surprising to see Crisp go so far forward, because typically as Rakan, you aren't really like a sole primary engager. You typically want to dive buddy right along with you because of how squishy you are. That can be circumvented if you do have that Galio ultimate available. They didn't walk a bit too far forward. Again, Meiko on the Alistar just able to lock him down and set all that up as we are going to get oh, actually, it's not even Meiko. It's just Scout able to lock him down. No vision. They didn't know he was there. And nice by EDG to turn around. Now, you're not really feeling any sweat or pressure in terms of FPX and their dragons.
Unbelievable performance here from Scout across this. I mean, just look at his score, man. 9-1-4. He's got 14,000 gold individually at 27 minutes. That is near unbelievable. Scout has just, he's a different player today.
Yeah, Dom's 3-0 for FPX is really not
yeah, it's going to be a struggle.
Lie.
Yeah, Scout is seeing to that one by himself. And to be fair to Viper as well, being able to survive so much in these fights, because that's the game plan for FPX, is get onto Viper, and they just can't seem to get it.
I mean, Immortal Shield Bow, Wits, and it's only getting harder and harder as the game goes on to be able to take Viper down, right? I mean, again, no consistent DPS on their side. You're pretty much continuously relying on a play like Tian just found, kick him into pretty much everyone on your team to be able to disperse him out in one shot. But even then, Viper might be able to get out of like your first burst of damage scot-free if he has Cleanse or Flash available, reposition, and turn the fight. So I feel like with where we're at in terms of items, this is where EDG are feeling especially strong.
Especially when you're looking like Scout being able to reboot or like relocate people with that Realm Warp. Like you can look for different angles on plays. I mean, getting to objectives first. If you ever look at a Baron sideways as FPX, you can always find EDG there.
That's one thing I like that you're talking about the Realm Warps coming out, right? Because we saw, especially with Team WE, there's a lot of creative ways you can use Realm Warps, but Scout's the first player that we're seeing consistently use the Realm Warp as a fake. Like, just sending it in by himself, trying to, like, funnel you into one area to set up for an advantageous team.
It's not even just a fake, right? It's an option. It's like, we can go here, but we're going to see what you do in response. If you don't respond, we're going here. If not, then we'll play a different route. And I have to say, Realm Warp plus Yordle, it's a killer combo. We've seen it with the Kennen, now we're seeing it with things like this. Gnar, apparently that just seems to be the new meta of how to play Ryze.
I mean, you've so many options here as EDG, and the fact that we're staring down the barrel of a potential 3-0 for EDG is kind of insane. Now, FPX moving to see if they can try and take control of side lanes, Doinb shoving in on this top lane, and EDG, they're setting up for Baron control, trying to move in as this death ball, not give themselves the opportunity to be picked off by FPX.
Yeah, we do see some pings coming out around that top side, though. I love that we're hovering over it right now. FPX do have one ward right where the Krugs would be. You can try and bring someone like Nuguri in on a flank instead of a fight, but FPX are grouped right now.
Really important to mention, Scout has 2 stopwatches. He's got his Zhonya's, and he's bought a stopwatch on top of that. So very, very easy for him to survive. And he's the man you've got to keep your eyes on in these fights.
The Horizon focus as well coming through for Nuguri. That's going to deal so much damage if you can get people locked up. An insane amount of burst damage on towards EDG. But again, we haven't seen Nuguri have those big moments. We know he's capable of them. We just haven't seen it yet.
So let's talk about this Baron then. What has to happen for FPX to keep themselves alive in the series?
I think FPX need to try and find that flank. They need to find that massive wombo combo. If you can lock numerous members down, Viper has to be one of them. FPX can take it.
And as you said, like, they've got so many different wards around the place, right? Unfortunately, the ward at the Krugs did die, but you got several in mid lane. They got a couple that they're trying to eke in onto EDG's side. If you can find those moments, you're in a great spot. But EDG, they're just not giving them that opportunity. EDG hyper aware that if they group up, that's when they're most dangerous.
And that's why it's so sad for FPX that EDG were able to get the lead, right? Because EDG now have the breathing room to play the style that they've been comfortable at, like, all split long.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're fine just waiting for the neutrals. We have the superior 5v5. You need to come into us. We can just keep clearing your vision, play out through these scenarios. But Meiko,
Nuguri
he's
wants
fine.
a little bit more blast cone. Gets him out just as the stun procced as well. That was about as close as it could have been. But they will survive, at least for the time being.
I feel like the good thing for FPX, though, moving into the next phase of the game, right? Dragon about to have 40 seconds. They do have push in both mid and top, so someone on the side of EDG theoretically having to go and answer that top wave before they're able to move down. Wouldn't be surprised if they did drop it just because of FPX coming in with the superior setup so far, though.
Also because, like, EDG's comp right now is kind of firing on all cylinders, right? As you already talked about, like, Scout having pretty much everything he wants, Viper nearly having the
Death cap
edge,
again,
like,
Dagda.
yeah, Death cap
He's
completely.
nearly 6 items.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to worry too much about your gold right now as EDG, and you've got the better scaling. So in a situation like this, you're like, hey, I mean, what's one wave when we can go for this dragon?
Yeah, especially, right? One wave compared to, you know FPX is going to contest you. You know you can get a lot of those, like, shutdowns, get the kills, and make your way towards the Baron. We are going to see the fight coming from here. Can FPX find the wombo combo?
That's the question. Can they group up? Can they find kills onto Scout and Viper? It shouldn't be possible. But Lwx finds the execute on the Drake, puts his own team onto Soul Point. Why go for the fight when you can just go for the steal?
Jiejie, we've been praising you for so long. Come on, boy.
To be fair, hey, Smite got nerfed and Varus has the
That is
WQ combo. It's incredibly difficult to smite against a good Varus.
I mean, overall, just nice to see Lwx able to find that. Still sad for the side of EDG. Now for EDG, they're going to have to play a bit more aggressively, making their way up towards this Baron. I'm curious to see if they're going to be comfortable going for any kind of bait. They do have really good turn potential, right? You have an Alistar. If Flandre waits, Jiejie.
Jiejie's super low on this one. Missed the smite. Might miss his life after this. Tian can't find Sonic Wave, though. Doesn't have a way into the skirmish just yet. Jiejie, no Crescent Guard available. Doinb Everfrost will not fight it. And Tian just knocked up Grand Entrance now as the stopwatch keeps the jungler alive. Knockups on the backline and Flandre falls. FPX are finding the fight, but Viper still going strong. Scout off onto the flank, but Nuguri jumps on in with the slicing maelstrom, shuts him down. The double stopwatch will buy you time, but that is it. And now FPX to the Baron.
And FPX find their way back into this game. Tian coming off on the flank, sets up for the heroic entrance from Doinb. Sad for EDG. Flandre not being Mega Gnar, pretty much just useless. And EDG not able to find it. FPX looking to take their first game with this Baron.
To be reborn, a Phoenix has to die in flames, and Tian gave his life there, so FPX may live. The Baron comes across, they pick that one up, and what a performance here. We end up getting the steal coming through from Lwx. The fact he got this, an absolute miracle. And then we get to look at this next fight as well. Like, Tian goes in, knows he has the stopwatch. She's like, look, I'm going to give up my life here, but I get that delivery system for Doinb. We know Lwx is in a great spot, and it sets everything up for FPX.
Yeah, and I love the way that they're playing with Tian off onto the side. Gets the Sonic Wave. They try to use the Everfrost. He ends up not caring. Says, hey, if I can get in here, even if I don't, even if I die, it's not too good of a deal. Zones off numerous members, right? We can see Flandre off towards the top side, goes down immediately. Scout not able to be involved in the fight. And Viper not really having an easy way to walk forward to deal out this damage.
I also think Chris played this really well.
Yeah.
He waited for the Crescent Guard, popped the quickness, kind of baited out that ultimate from the Xin Zhao, and then went in afterwards. Meant there was no disruption there for that play.
And I think really crucially as well, Doinb, Crisp, Nuguri, all playing bodyguard for Lwx, just protecting the AD carry, not letting the flank from Flandre work, not letting Scout find a window. And now a siege in the mid lane. Baron in the pocket of FPX, and they need to find lots off the back of this play. Remember, they don't win the scaling game. Doinb kicked out of the fray, and EDG so far are defending well.
Still, this is going to set up so well for the side of FPX's comp, right? Because they have Baron, they have push, they can get deep vision down, so then when next dragon comes up, or if you can pull the side of EDG out of their base, you theoretically should have better angles to come off onto to set up plays like you did last time around. And even with this Baron, right? Sure, they might not have a ton of range across their composition, but Lwx still able to come off with a lot of poke, so it's nice to see FPX with the gold advantage for the first time.
Lwx almost got a kill on Viper in that little replay. Got a chain of corruption. The arrow narrowly dodged because of the cleanse coming out from Viper. So that will be on cooldown for a little bit. And importantly, to continue to praise Lwx. This Drake in a minute and a half, that's going to be soul point because of LWX.
And you know EDG fans are sweating.
Oh, yeah.
When you're in a position like this, you're one game away. EDG, we've seen them have mixed performances in these sorts of situations, but FPX are looking for the play.
Here's the TP you were talking about, Lyric, as Nuguri over the wall, wants a way in. Does not have flash, though. EDG will back away. They keep themselves safe for now.
Yeah, they try to find the angle. They're not able to do that. Dragon's still about 1 minute and 10 away, so not going to be able, as FPX, to go back towards the top side and like try and change your wave states. You are committed now to playing towards the bottom half of the map and looking for this fight for Drake.
Drake is going to be the name of the game. Still 55 seconds until that comes up, though, and EDG are like, well, if you guys are grouping up for Drake, that's not up for a minute. We'll just run down the mid lane. Thanks for the ticket. Onto the tower we go.
And if you ever try to collapse them, you got the Realm Warp to try and get out of there as well. But FPX, they're coming in from multiple angles. But EDG, they're on the run.
Tian gets the Sonic Wave. He's onto the back line here if he wants it. Jiejie rooted up by the Everfrost. Has a stopwatch, keeps himself safe for the time being. Tian looking for a way in. Nuguri up on the top side of the fight. Can he get the big slicing maelstrom? Flandre in Mega Gnar. FPX can just wait this out for the time being. A Scout takes a chunk as well. Moonlight Vigil in with the quickness, in with the kick, in with the combo. But they haven't got a kill just yet. Flandre still surviving on the top side of the fight. Realm Warp out to the back of the fight. Scout trying to turn things around. He's alone in the back of the fray though, and he does not have the damage. A kill for Nuguri. 3 for FPX, and now towards the base.
And FPX can just keep separating the members of EDG. Viper looks like he wants to hold the wave. I don't know if that's the right call, bro.
You're playing with fire right here, Viper, because this is a Phoenix that you're up against now into the mid lane. FPX trying to end things.
Wait a second.
Look for a 1v1. Viper's going to go for this one quite happily. Sterix versus Shieldpo. Which shield is better? Viper gets him down into Jiejie. Has to retreat. Tian might find the kill here onto Viper, but the Sonic Wave goes wide. It doesn't matter because FPX will keep the series alive.
How do FPX manage it? We've seen it against WE, and now we get the same against EDG. They go down, we count them out, and that's when they bring it back and push us to game number 4.
I mean, I remember you guys mentioning it coming into game, right? FPX looked calm, they look cool, collected coming into draft. We see them actually get champions that are much more comfortable for them, especially stylistically. This sets up for the way FPX wants to play. Strangely enough, they didn't find that early game advantage, but they were still just so good and so consistent looking for ways into the fights, especially with Tian to set up for these massive combos.
And I think that's the big one, was just that, again, they do not stop. They do not let up. Every single time we're like, you know what? They're going to have to settle down. They're going to have to play it slow. EDG's going to get control of the map. We go for picks. We go for everything that they can, trying to find some way. And it's just keep throwing it and throwing it. Eventually, something's going to stick.
And you know, chaps, it's getting a bit warm in the studio. I'm starting to sweat, but I tell you, I'm not sweating anywhere near as much as the EDG fans are right now, because they've seen this before. They've been here before. EDG 2-0 up. Still looking incredibly good in that game, to be fair to them. But FPX, like, look, I don't want to be that guy, but we've got to talk about Mojo, right? If there's any team that can pull it back from the brink, it's FPX.
You know, I do want to say, right, I get where you're coming from with FPX. There is a bit of that magic there. But EDG, even looking at this game, right? Holistically, EDG have been the much better team today.
Yeah.
Even in their loss, I think EDG should feel so confident going into next game as long as like the mentality stays strong. Even in a draft like this where sure, you kept your mid-jungle duo pretty strong, your side lanes were a bit weaker in terms of early laning phase. We saw actually for the early game that doesn't really matter. If EDG just keep playing around mid-jungle early on, it seems like they're guaranteed to find the early game leads.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was going to say. Like, Scout has been absolutely phenomenal. He's been the one that's been setting up so often. This Ryze has been such a strong pick for him. And FPX, like, they haven't really found an answer, right? We got some of these plays that brought it back, but it wasn't really an answer to the Ryze. And now I'm kind of looking going, hell, if you didn't have Tian on this Lee Sin, who was able to set up for some of these engages, like, you don't win this.
Yeah, this is getting dicey for FPX, to be honest. I'm getting a little bit carried away. I'm a play-by-play guys. I'm allowed to get carried away. These guys have got to bring me back to reality. And the reality is right now still that EDG are on match point. FPX managing to get themselves a singular game, though, and a crucial one to keep the hopes alive. Like you said during that game, Dagda, the Phoenix has to die to rise from the ashes. But the Edward has